Welcome to the second section of session 1 of FMPMM. We are going to now talk about a parallel production system. Whenever we look at any production technology, there are some of these parameters based on which we gauge any technology, and then we are in a position to evaluate one technology versus the other, depending on the requirement of the organization. So the factors, the parameters based on which we gauge a particular any technology, the few factors are supervision, labor, quality control, productivity, throughput time, layout. Now, when we talk about supervision, any technology which is such that you actually have to stand and supervise to ensure that the thing is being done correctly. If you have to do that, that technology is not as good as another technology in which you don't have to stand and see whether things are being done properly or not. So a technology which is such that you give that technology to even a person with limited capabilities, and that person with limited capability is able to use that technology and do the thing perfectly without you supervising it, that is a better technology. So any technology which does not require any supervision is a better technology. Second is labor. Any technology which requires lesser labor is good. More labor, not good. If any technology requires very specialized labor, it's not good. Any technology which can be used even by the simplest of the labor, great. Third one, quality control. Do you have to control the quality? We don't really want to control the quality. We want that the quality is automatically controlled. So if there's a technology which gives you such an opportunity that the quality is automatically controlled, that will be great. Fourth is productivity. Productivity is any technology which gives you higher productivity is better. Productivity means for a given amount of resources, how many units are you able to produce, or for a given number of units to be produced, how less the resources are required to produce the same amount of units of product. So higher the productivity, better. Throughput time is the amount of time that it takes for a product to be cut and then the product to be produced. So throughput time is something like, I give you the order right now. What is the amount of time in which the first piece will get out of the machine and be readied and packed and presented to the customer? So anyone who's making just one piece can, let's say a tailor is making one shirt for you. So the tailor will make it for you in, let's say, 1 or 2 days. But if you give an order of 500 or 1000 pieces of that same shirt to a factory, the factory is going to take at least 3 to 4 days. Only then the first piece is going to reach the washing and then finishing and other things. So if you ask a factory that, when can I see the first piece, perfect piece, readied piece, the factory will say at least 6 to 7 days. Because they are not going to load a single piece onto the machine and then make it. They are going to load at least 100, 200, 300 pieces onto the stitching line. And so this entire 300 pieces are going to be stitched, and then all these 300 pieces are going to go to the washing and then to finishing and then packing and things like that. So a single piece is not going to move. So in that case, the throughput time is going to be higher in case of a factory. But in case of a tailor, someone who, your local tailor, the throughput time is the least. And if you talk about the layout is the arrangement of the machines and the tools and equipments that you use. So if for a given technology, the layout can be flexible. You want to keep the machine in any which manner that you want to. That's the best thing. If there is a particular technology in which you have to keep all the machines in a particular shape only, then it becomes less flexible, and therefore you would have to have a factory of a particular shape or size. Only then you will be able to use that technology. No, you don't want such a technology which is very rigid. You want such a technology where you should be able to use the technology in any shape, in any manner. So it can be a 2 or 3 or 4 story building in which you are using the technology. If a technology is such that you have to have all the machines laid out on a single floor, then you'll have to have a huge tract of land on which you'll be able to use the technology. You don't want any such technology which is rigid. So having discussed these factors based on which we evaluate any production technology, we are now going to talk about the various parallel production systems. Now broadly, we are looking at the manual systems. Broadly, we are going to talk about the make-through system, the modular production system, and the assembly system. Now the easiest one, make-through system, each of you would have seen this make-through system. Now this make-through system is the most traditional method of production. Entire garment is made by one person. And this is what you've seen in your local neighborhood where the tailor sits. One tailor is going to do all the operations of a garment and stitch the complete garment for you. Now, if a person is able to make the entire garment for you, it means that person is highly skilled and is versatile labor, because that labor can take care of all the operations, the easy operations, the difficult operations, all operations, because that person can make the entire garment for you. Now, such kind of highly skilled and versatile labor, obviously these are rare, and because they are rare, they are expensive, because they are hard to come by. And in this case, the operator or the tailor is given the complete bundle of cut work, meaning to say one person can make the entire garment. So therefore, the fabric is cut as per the patterns, and all the pattern pieces will be given, will be bundled up and will be given to the operator, and the operator is going to make the entire product for you. And this system, make-through system, is used in case where when the variety is large and the number of pieces per style is very less. So in such cases, the make-through system is most successful. Now here I would just like to illustrate the difference between a tailor and an operator. Operator is a person who does one operation. Tailor is a person who can make the entire garment. A tailor is a person who can do all the operations and make the complete garment for you. An operator is a person who can do only one operation, or maybe a couple of operations. So what happens is that tailor can do all the operations, operator can do only one or two types of operation, and they specialize in that particular operation, and therefore they are called operators. So these people who are doing operation in the factories, they are called operators. While your local tailoring shop, the people who are working, the people who are making the entire garment for you, they are called tailors. So in case of make-through, if we gauge it, if we evaluate it based on supervision, labor, quality, productivity, throughput time, layout, now supervision is minimal. You don't really have to stand on their heads to see whether they are doing things correctly or not, because these are highly skilled people. Labor is highly skilled, they are expensive. If you talk about quality control, you will have to look at the quality. Beach mein you will have to check whether everything is being done properly or not. But you don't really have to look into the quality so much. Vis-a-vis, when you have to look at the quality when the operation is being done by a semi-skilled person. So because these people are highly skilled, so therefore the amount of quality control that you have to do is very less. If you look at the productivity is one area where make-through system is very, very weak. One tailor making the entire garment. Now this person can do all the operations, and this person is not an expert of all the operations. And because one person has to do different types of operations, so that you're never able to achieve a great speed. Imagine one operator in a factory. His job is to set the pocket on the body or join the collar to the body of the shirt. The entire day, the person is only joining collars to the body part. So imagine the kind of speed that this person will be able to develop. So when we talk about make-through system, the productivity is very low due to lack of specialization. And if you look at the throughput time, make-through system is the only system which has the least amount of throughput time. The throughput time is reduced to minimum, no necessity for reserves of work. Imagine the local tailoring shop. They never have any buffers for the next day. You go there, you give the fabric, you tell them, make a shirt for me. Sometimes maybe you go and say, make 2 shirts and 2 pants because you are going to school, or maybe you have a work uniform. You're working in a factory and you have a uniform, so you have 2 sets of uniforms. So when you go to a tailor, how many garments do you get made of one type? Just 1 piece or 2 pieces, not more than that. So the throughput time here is very less, and the layout is as flexible as can be. You tell the tailor, jahan marzi ho, you can set the machine and you can work there. Because that one tailor is not dependent on any other tailor. That one tailor is going to take the bundle from you, sit on the machine, complete the entire garment, come back to you, give you the finished garment. So therefore, it does not matter in which sequence 5 tailors are sitting. These tailors don't have to sit back to back, face to face, or something like that. But if you look at if you go to a factory, then the machines have to be placed in a circular fashion, in a U fashion, or in a straight line, whatever is the strategy, the production strategy of that company. So accordingly, the layout has to be followed. But in case of make-through, the layout is absolutely flexible wherever you want to. So if you want to open a tailoring house in a flat, also a 3-bedroom flat, you can do that, because the sequence of the machine does not matter. But you can't open a factory in a flat. Even if you do, in that case, the efficiency, the production efficiency is going to be less, because there will be, like, let's say 3 or 4 machines in one room, another 4 machines in another room, and all these operations are there are different operations. So one shot is the 4 operations are being done in one room, and then those shots have to be transferred to another room where 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th operation will be done, and things like that. Now this is going to lead to a lot of wastage. So that's why if you want to open a factory, opening a factory in a flat is not preferable. Someone is going to open a factory in a flat only when you don't have money. But once you have money, you would want to have a factory, a proper factory, where you can set up the machines in straight lines, and which helps in improving. It's easy to monitor. It's easy to handle, and the wastages are less, the accidents are less, and it's easy to monitor, and the efficiency is high. Yeah. So that's make through. The second is modular production system. Now, the modular production system, when you say module, so module means a bunch of things together, a module. Now, modular production system, an organized group of individuals working together in a cooperative manner to accomplish individual goals effectively and efficiently while simultaneously accomplishing goals of the team or organization. Now, modular production system is something which is very important for the garment trade and in other industries also. Now, modular production system, let's say there is a module for fusing, or there's a module of buttoning, or there's a module something like, let's say, washing. So modular production system means that, let's say, there is one team which only does washing. So the entire module of washing is going to happen at one place. Regardless of whether it is a denim pant or a shirt or a sari or a blouse or a dress or whatever, something which has to be washed or dry cleaned or stone washed, all of these things are going to go to that module where different types of washing is happening. So modular production system, what happens is, modular production system is a contained manageable work until it's a manageable work unit that includes an empowered work team, equipment and work to be executed. Now, the number of teams in a plant varies with the size and needs of the firm and product line. Now, let's say there is a factory which has a few orders in which they have to do the embroidery. And there's another factory in which there are a lot of orders which carry embroidery. So in the first case, the factory will hire a team of people who will do the embroidery. And once this job is done, then this outsourced team will be asked to leave. But in case of another factory where there is a lot of orders in which embroidery is there, the factory is going to set up a module, set up a system, set up a space where all the embroidery people are going to sit. You will also have a production manager, embroidery, a separate department only for embroidery. And in that particular department, you will have hand embroidery, machine embroidery, computer embroidery, all of them together. So that will be a separate module altogether. So it'll act like a contained, manageable work unit that includes an empowered work team. Now, all these people who are doing embroidery, they are a team. They'll work as a team. So they'll also get incentives as a team. So they know that in a particular given period of time, if they are able to complete an order or the number of pieces, all of us are going to get an incentive. So this module, this entire space, it works like a team, and they use the equipment collectively and they execute the work. And so number of teams in a plant varies with the size and needs of the firm and product line. So similarly, let's say if you have a lot of denims happening in a factory, then you will have a separate module, separate team which will only handle denim washes, and there will be another team which will handle the normal washes. And usually there are 4 to about 15 laborers in one team, depending upon the type of garment to be stitched and skills of labor. So this team is normally 4 to 15 people, which is viable. The level of cooperation is also maintained. About 15 people can work as a team, and one person can back up for another. And at any given point of time, a couple of people are absent. The rest of the people can, fill in for them. And the work will not suffer, the quality will not suffer, and also the deadline would not suffer. If a couple of people are not there, then the other people would fill in, and they would also be ready to do the overtime for the other person, so that you are still able to complete the work on time. And therefore, the entire team gets their incentive. And further, module production system. Now, teams may be used to perform all the operations. Now, you may have a modular production system where you have such a team which can, let's say, do the entire garment. So, which means in this system, you might give a particular order to a team that this order is yours. You have to complete it within 10 days. Now, you decide who is going to do what operation. At the end of the day, within 10 days, you will have to deliver the pieces, correct pieces, and you have to take care of the quality and other things. So, this can also happen, that one team can do the entire garment production, or there can be teams where certain portion of the assembly operation is done. Certain portion can be something like all the stitching work will be done by one team, all the cutting work will be done by another team, the washing etc. will be done by another team, buttoning will be done by another team. So these would be different modules. And so team is responsible for maintaining a smooth workflow. So which means someone or the other is absent, has not come, someone is facing any problem or anything, the team will be responsible. The team will ensure that there is a smooth workflow, and they meet the production goals, and they also meet the quality level. So team spirit or the team value is of utmost importance here in case of modular production system. And team members, they develop an interdependency to improve the process and accomplish their goals. So team members within themselves, they over a period of time, they build their competencies in such a manner that out of, let's say, 15 people, 3 people would specialize in a couple of functions. the other three people will specialize in other functions, and each of these three sets of people would be also specializing in some other function, so that just in case one person in one group is not available, there is someone or the other who can fill in for this absent person. So they are interdependent on each other. They learn to do things in such a manner that I'll do something, and for the other things I'll depend on you, and vice versa. And normally it is expected that it is a requirement actually that any person who is part of this team in the modular production system, every person must be able to perform multiple functions depending on his skills. So all of them are multi-skilled. If there are 10 types of skills required in a particular module, then every person would know at least 3 to 4 types of functions, so that one person can take care of at least 3 other functions. So it's more like, creating a backup. Just in case one person does not come, there are at least 2 or 3 other people who can take care of that particular function. Now, what are the advantages of modular production system? So the flexibility is high. Even if a person is there or not there, work is not going to stop. Different kinds of products can be made because your team of 15 people, they are skilled in multiple functions. Now, fast throughput times. Now, in case of modular production system, the throughput time is fast. They do things fast. The team is small. The quantities are not so large, and the amount of time that the modular production system takes to churn out the first piece is less than if you talk about an assembly system where there are a lot of people working not in modules, and the quantities are high, and therefore the first person to come out of the machine and get finished, the amount of time that it takes is larger. In case of modular production system, the throughput time is lesser. Again, the wastages are low in case of modular production system. Now, the wastages are low as compared to the make-through system. The local tailor, the amount of wastages that they do is very high, and in assembly system, the wastages are the least. Modular production is somewhere in middle, where the wastages are not very high, but not very low also. And in case of modular production system, because you work as a team, so as a team, because each one is responsible for each other, so therefore the absenteeism is less. One person does not willfully absent himself or herself from work, because they know that if I don't go, then my own partner is going to get in trouble, or the load will be shifted on to that person. So there is no point in being absent for no rhyme or reason. So the absenteeism is less, and the employees are empowered. The more you work, the more you earn. And as a team, if you work together, the more incentives you will be able to make. So because the incentives are there, so all these employees feel empowered. And as a team, they are the owner of a particular order. So as a team, you know that you have to complete it, and if you complete it on time, you are the owner of that incentive. So, yeah, empowered employees. Now, imagine a situation where you work very hard, but then there is no incentive for that. Someone who's working hard, someone who's not working so hard, everyone is getting the same amount of money. So in that case, you don't feel empowered. And imagine this modular production system where there are 15 people as a team, and you're working together, beating the deadlines, and you're getting the incentives every now and then. You feel great. You feel empowered. And as a team, because as a team, you are responsible for an order. So if you don't do good quality, let's say 15 people are working on an order, and first person has to do a particular function, and the first person is not doing the job properly, and then the rest of the 14 people are doing it properly. It is very easy to see that the first person has not done the job properly, because it will be very clear in the quality of the garment. So if suppose I am the one who is attaching the buttons to the garment, if it is not been done properly, everyone will see बटन ठीक से नहीं लगाया, तो who is the one who has been attaching buttons to the garment? Well, person number one has been doing it. How does the person one feel? He's caught कि he hasn't done it properly. So that's why in case of modular production system, the quality is improved because everyone can see who is doing what and of what quality. So within 15 people or maybe less than that, it's clearly visible that who's working, who's not working. So therefore the quality is maintained in case of modular production system. What are the disadvantages of modular production system? Modular production system are mostly used in automobile manufacturing, and in those cases the capital investment is very, very high. Hundreds of crores of rupees have to be spent on creating one module, and that's why you will see that if an automobile company comes up with one model, they will sell at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lakh pieces of that same model. Only then they will be able to recover the cost of the investment in the capital. But that is not the kind of investment that we have to do in apparel manufacturing, and that's why we do so many styles every now and then. But in automobiles it's not possible because the investment is so much in every module. So yeah, and other disadvantage of modular production system is high investment in initial training, because each person is multi-talented, multi-skilled. So each person will have to be trained in multiple skills. So the amount of time, energy, money that will be spent on initial training of the people, the investment is fairly high. Although not so high in case of apparel manufacturing. And if there is the compatibility between the team members is less, then there's going to be loss of production. And it's quite possible, even if the team is small, just like when you're working in groups in your assignments, a couple of people are not compatible with each other, there are infighting, and then there is loss of efficiency, you're not able to do the assignment on time. So similarly, the same thing happens in case of apparel manufacturing industry. If the compatibility is less, the company loses. And the other disadvantage is dependency on the team for whole production. Now, if you're the owner of the factory and you have handed over a particular order to one team, and the team is not performing properly, or something or the other is happening every day, people are fighting, and someone is absent and things like that. So you as a company, you are entirely dependent on this particular module, on this particular group for the garment production, for that particular order. So you are dependent on this team, and this dependence it's not a desired situation that one would like to be in. I am wholly dependent on a particular group for a particular thing. Why should I be dependent on one group for a particular thing? If one group is not there, some other group can immediately take it over. That should be the situation. But if I have a modular production system where one module can take care of, let's say, attaching the buttons. If that entire system, if that entire group is not there, then who's going to attach the buttons? Overnight, I cannot find out some new person to start doing the buttoning and things like that. So the dependence is one's disadvantage. So that brings us to the end of modular production system, and then we are now going to discuss, we will go on to the next one, which is the assembly system. Assembly system is by far the most successful and the most productive, efficient system which is used throughout the world whenever we are talking about production on a very large scale. Okay, in case of assembly system, unlike the make-through system or the modular production system, in assembly system, each operator is assigned one operation only. One person will do only one job. One person is doing buttoning, then that person will be doing buttoning throughout. If one person is attaching the collar, then that person will be attaching the collar throughout the day, forever and ever. Now, what happens in this case is that bundles of garment components are moved sequentially from operation to operation, and bundles consist of garment parts needed to complete a specific operation of a or garment component. And firms work with varied bundle sizes as well as standard bundle sizes. Now, what happens here is that, let's say a shirt comprises of, let's say, 10 parts. Now, the first machine, the first operator, is going to join pattern 1 and pattern 2, part 1 and part 2, and then pass it on to the next machine. Now, the second person is going to take that assembled product in which part 1 has been attached to part 2. He already has part 3, and the second person now attaches the part 3 to part 1 and 2, and then passes it on to the third person. Now, third person is going to attach the fourth part to the part which he receives, and what he has received is part 1 has been attached to part 2, part 2 has been attached with part 3, and now the third person is attaching the fourth part to the assembled piece received by him. So, bundles of garment components are moved sequentially from operation to operation. Now, why bundles? Now, what we are saying is that, let's say you do one operation and then you give that part, you attach part 1 and part 2 and you give to the person sitting in front of you. Then again, you for the next piece, you attach part 1 with part 2 and then you give it to the second person. So, each and every time you attach two pieces and you give to the other person, the amount of time that you take to give that piece to the next person, let's say it takes about 5 seconds. So, if you do it 10 times and you have attached part 1 with part 2 one time, then the second piece and the third piece, fourth piece, each time you are giving it, you are losing that 5 seconds each time. Now, if you have attached part 1 and part 2 for one piece, then part 1 and part 2 for second piece. Now, suppose you do it for 10 times, for 10 pieces, and then you give these 10 pieces to the next person. Again, it will take you 5 seconds only. So, why pass on every piece to the next person? You do at least for 5 or 10 pieces and then pass on the entire 10 pieces at one time. So, you don't waste time just passing on the pieces to the next person. So, that's why we have the bundle system. And firms work with varied bundle sizes as well as standard bundle sizes. So, normally what happens is that because all factories are of different nature, they have different types of people, there are different systems. So, there are some factories which work with bundles of 10 pieces. You have 10 collars, 10 bodies, you give it to the tailor, give it to the operator attaches the collar to the body for 10 pieces and then passes it on to the next person. Some factories find it more comfortable with only 5 pieces. So, you do it for 5 pieces, pass it on to the next one. There are some factories which may be making very small garments or such garments which have very less number of pieces and they are very small. So, in that case, you may be able to keep a lot of pieces on the table of the stitching machine. So, because these are small pieces, so you can manage more number of pieces on your table and therefore the bundle may be higher. So, you might be using bundles of 20 pieces. So, you do 20 operations and then you pass it on to the next person, and then the next person again does their predetermined operation for 20 pieces and then passes it on to the next person. So, different firms may work with different bundle sizes. And further, in assembly system, bundles are assembled in cutting room where cut parts are matched. Now, imagine there is a cutting room in which long tables are there. You spread the fabric one on top of the other. You put about 40, 50, 60 layers of fabric and you cut them at one time. So let's say if you're cutting a small size, at one go you'll be able to cut 60 pieces of small size. 60 pieces, let's say if you're doing a shirt, then you'll be doing 60 pieces of sleeve left, then you'll be cutting 60 pieces of right sleeve, and then 60 collars, 60 front left, 60 front right, 60 back. So you're cutting 60 pieces at the same time in the using the industrial cutting system. Now once the cutting has been done, then let's say you have 60 collars together and your factory is working with a bundle system of let's say 10. So the person who is making the bundles takes those 60 layers of collar and makes the first bundle using the top layer, the top 10 layers of collar bundled together, that is bundle 1. From layer 11 to 20, that is bundle 2. So the bundling is done in the cutting department itself, and then these bundles are sent to the production floor, and there the operators are going to take first bundle 10 pieces, do their operations, send it to the next person, then you take the second bundle, and accordingly the people who are sitting in front of you, they are also going to work accordingly. So bundles are assembled in cutting room where cut parts are matched. Now each bundle receives a ticket that identifies style, size, shade and list of operations. Now in every bundle there is a sticker which is attached to it, and on the sticker the details will be given, which is the style number, what size is this, what shade. So it could be style ABC, size could be small, and shade could be red or blue or green, whatever shade that garment is in. And then the list of operations. List of operations is how many operations are there. Let's say after you're making that shirt, doing let's say 7 operations. So the list of those 7 operations will be given in that sticker. So anyone who gets that bundle can see that what have you got. So let's say in this case I have got 10. I have got 6 bundles. Every bundle has 10 pieces of collar, and I have to attach these collars to the body. So I'll receive 10. I'll receive the collars and I'll receive the bodies, 6 bundles each, and then I'll be attaching the collar to the bodies one by one. And once I'm done with 10 pieces, I'll send it to the next person. I'll take the second bundle, then I'll work on it, complete the entire bundle, I'll pass it on to the next operator. And bundle tickets, the sticker which is put onto these bundles, they also consist of a master list of operations and corresponding coupons for each operation. So every operator is going to do one single operation, and the details of all the operations will be given in the bundle ticket. So any operator knows that which operation I have to do, that is written in that bundle ticket or the sticker. And if you look at the assembly system, there are broadly 2 variations of the assembly line system being followed in the industries, namely progressive bundle system and unit production system. Now, progressive bundle system is what we have talked about right now, that you make the bundles and then you work on one bundle, complete it, then give it to the next person. The next person can work on one bundle and then pass it on to the next person. So that is progressive bundle system. And then assembly system also has a system of unit production system. In case of unit production system, the only difference is that the system is built in such a way that every operator works on one piece, and that one piece automatically goes to the next person. And at any given point of time, all the people who are there in that system, they are working on only one piece. So the moment you complete a particular operation, you just press a button, and that what you have done, it will go to the next person, and the next person will take care of the next operation. So there is one piece moving from one person to another. So I work only on one piece and I send it to another person. There are different mechanisms of sending that piece to another person. I work on one piece, press the button, it goes to the next person. I work on second piece, press the button, it goes to the second person. I do the third piece, press the button, it goes to the second person. So I am working on one piece, sending it. You work on one piece, send it. One piece, send it. That is your unit production system. Bundle system is you work on 5 or 10 pieces, send it to the next person. Work on the second bundle, complete it. Bundle has about, let's say, 10 pieces or 5 pieces, complete it, send it to the next person. So progressive bundle system is where bundles are moving from one machine to another. But in case of unit production system, a single piece is moving from one machine to another. So we'll just discuss a little more about progressive bundle system, PBS. Progressive bundle system is also known as a material handling system, and bundle of garment parts move from operation to operation. This has been the traditional production system in India and widely used by apparel manufacturers for several decades. Like I said, that single pieces, if you work on one piece and then send, work on another piece, then send. So sending time is being repeated again and again. Instead, you work for at least, you work on 10 pieces and then send it. Something like that. So you save time. But there are unit production system are such system where the entire system, computerized system is made where you don't have to send it. You just have to press a button and the piece will travel to the next machine. Now, progressive bundle system, also known as material handling system, in which a bundle of garment parts move from operation to operation. It is a traditional production system, widely used, most successful in India, and 80% of the apparel manufacturers use the bundle system in India, especially. And these bundles consist of garment parts needed to complete a specific operation. That is, an operation bundle for pocket setting might include shirt front and pockets to be stitched together. I have already explained this. And different firms normally work on different bundle size depending on whichever works best for you. And bundle sizes vary according to size of pieces in bundle and operation to be completed. In case you have very large parts, you are joining two very large parts, then the number of pieces in a bundle will be very less, because the amount of space that these bundles will occupy is going to be very large, because part 1 and part 2, they are so huge that I can hardly handle 2 or 3 pieces. But if there are very small parts, then I can handle at least 20 pieces in one bundle. So I will complete 20 pieces, fatafat, send it, and work on another 20 pieces, send it. But if you have a very large piece and you make a bundle of 20 pieces, I work on one piece. It takes me 1 or 2 minutes. Then I work on second piece. It takes me another 2 minutes. So by the time I complete 20 pieces, 40 minutes have gone by. Abhi what has happened is the person who is sitting in front of me, he is waiting. Ki bhai kuch bhejo. What will I do then? You are taking 40 minutes to do one bundle. Till that time, what am I going to do? So that's why we have different bundle sizes. At the end of the day, you should not be wasting time on passing on the parts to the next person too much. But you can also not work on bundle sizes such that you are working and the person in front of you is waiting for you. That should not happen. So that's why different factories, different systems, different bundle sizes are successful. So one factory works with 5 pieces in a bundle and the movement is smooth. There could be another factory which works with 12 pieces in a bundle and it is smooth for them. So you look at the situation, you look at the way the factory is working, and based on that you can see what is the bundle size which is the best for you. And like we discussed earlier, bundles are assembled in the cutting room where cut parts are matched with corresponding parts and bundle tickets. The workers or the labor, they transport and move bundles of cut parts to the sewing room via trolleys, and operators scheduled to complete the operation and perform same operation on all pieces in the bundle, retie the bundle, remove bundle ticket and move bundle for next operation. So what happens is that cutting has been done in the cutting department, bundling is done by a labor or a worker or a helper kind of a person. These bundles are now carried to the production floor, and the first operator will get the bundles of those parts which he is supposed to join or work on, and the person will complete one bundle, then again tie it and give it to the next person, and then the first person will take the second bundle, open it, do all the operations, again retie the bundle, then give it to the next person. And this is what happens throughout the day. Now, what are the advantages of progressive bundle system? Like I said, एक पीस आगे दो, टाइम बर्बाद करो, उससे अच्छा 5 पीस या 6 पीस या 10 पीस एक बार बना लो, फिर आगे दो, so that कि you are not wasting time on passing on these pieces, number 1. And number 2 is कि एक बार में 50 पीस भी मत बनाओ कि सामने वाला वेट करता रह जाए, तो इसलिए 5 पीस या 10 पीस वो लेके करते. So that's the advantage of progressive bundle system. Labor of all levels, which is unskilled, skilled, semi-skilled, all of them are involved. So when this bundle system is there, so what is actually happening is that in case of progressive bundle system is that there are simple operations, there are difficult operations. Difficult operations are taken care of by very skilled operators, and very easy operations are taken care of by semi-skilled operators, not very highly skilled. Now, when we are using this progressive bundle system, then what is happening is that the quantity of each operation is checked during every single operation. So there is less chance of mixing up of parts and therefore less confusion. So you don't have a lot of pieces moving between the machines. At any given point of time, only one bundle is moving from one machine to another. So the confusion is less. And because bundles are there, so therefore tracking the bundle is possible. And therefore identifying and solving problem becomes easy. Imagine there is no bundle and single pieces are moving from one machine to another. Then tracking is difficult. At any given point of time, you go to a particular machine, you pick up the number of bundles, and you can see that how many pieces have been already made, or how many pieces are there in the production line. So if there are 100 pieces on the production line and every bundle has 10 pieces, so you'll just see 10 bundles. So counting 10 bundles will take you less than 10 seconds. But if there was no bundle and there are 100 pieces in the production line, imagine the amount of time that will be required to count 100 pieces. So bundle wise, the movement is easy, confusion is less, monitoring is easy. In case there is any problem, then you can catch that problem easily. So bundle tracking is possible, identifying and solving problem becomes easy, and therefore the production control system is more effective, and the quality control system is also more effective because monitoring is easy because of progressive bundle system. Now, if you look at the disadvantages, it is time consuming, due to assembling, moving and untying of bundles. So it is because you need a person who's going to make the bundles. Now one person makes the bundles, passes it on. The labor makes the bundle, then takes it to the production floor, gives it to the tailors or gives it to the operators. Then the operator, they read the bundle ticket, then they open it, then they do their operations, then again make the bundle and tie it, and then pass it on to the next person. So opening the bundle, understanding it, and then doing the work, then again tying it and then passing it on. So that takes time. So that is time consuming. So because it is time consuming, it requires more labor and therefore more labor cost. And whenever there is a progressive bundle system, then you really need an efficient supervisor, because only an efficient supervisor will be able to monitor it, and in case anything goes wrong, will be able to detect it, catch it, and then get it rectified. Now, in case of a progressive bundle system, where the bundle is progressing from one machine to another and then to another. In this case, what is happening is that, let's say there are 10 machines, then there are 10 labor and there are 10 operations, and with the help of these 10 operations, we are able to stitch a shirt. Now, every operator is skilled in a particular operation. So operation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every operator can do their operation. Now imagine operator number 4 falls sick and does not come on a particular day. Then what do? So in case there is labor absenteeism, it can affect production. Normally what is done is that in any kind of production, we always ensure that there are at least 10 to 20% persons who can handle almost all the operations. So just in case anyone is absent, there will be at least one person who can take care of that operation. So what happens? Let's imagine there are 10 people in an assembly line. Fourth person is absent today. Morning you get to know that the fourth person is absent. Now first person, second person, third person. 3 people have done their job. Fourth machine is empty. So the person who is on, let's say, machine number 10 is an expert of all operations. So that person comes and sits on the fourth machine, works at a very high speed, and let's say does about 20-30 pieces. Then immediately goes to the 10th position and then does his work. So throughout the day, this person who is sitting on the 10th machine for 20 minutes comes back to the 4th machine, does the work, whatever number of pieces have come to the 4th machine, he completes that and then goes back to his machine and then completes his work. So keeps on shuttling from his machine, 10th machine, to the 4th machine. So in case anyone is absent, still this particular assembly will ensure that the work does not stop. It may get hampered a little, but it will not stop. So if you do not have these multi-skilled people, then working using production bundle system, absenteeism is going to be a big problem. Okay, variety of styles and less quantity is not effective in this system. Now, progressive bundle system is successful only when you have great orders. When the order size are 100, 200, 500, 1000 or more number of pieces. Not good for small quantities like 5-10 pieces. Because 5-10 pieces means automatically you go to the tailor rather than to any factory, which is using progressive bundle system. So variety of styles and less quantity is not good for this system. And if you want to use progressive bundle system, you have to be damn good with your planning, because proper planning is required for each style, each batch. Each style, each batch. Meaning to say, small styles, the bundle are going to be bigger, as in the number of pieces in every bundle is going to be bigger. If the styles are very big and the operations are very complex, then the bundle size are going to be smaller. So accordingly, the planning has to be done. And if there is improper planning, it will cause labor turnover, poor quality, and less production. Meaning to say that if the planning is not done properly, then this progressive bundle system is going to backfire. There is going to be a lot of disturbance. Labor is going to leave the organization, and the quality will be poor, and the production will be less. Now, why does this happen? If things are not done properly, is that if the planning is not done properly, then what will happen is that let's say the bundle size should have been, let's say, 10. Instead, the bundle size has been kept at 20. Now, what will happen is that the first person will take, let's say, 10 or 20 minutes to do those 20 pieces in one bundle, and then pass it on to the second person. Now, this second person has been sitting for 10 minutes idle. अभी इज वेटिंग कि पहला बंडल आएगा तो हम काम शुरू करेंगे. नाउ वंस द फर्स्ट बंडल हैज कम, ही वर्क्स ऑन इट, passes it on to the next person. Now imagine there are 8 other people who are waiting for their bundle, and it is taking a lot of time. Now in a lot of factories, what happens is that the labor has been taken on piece rate basis. Piece rate basis means the factory pays according to the number of pieces that you've made. Now, if I'm waiting for the bundle for no fault of mine, I will be able to make less number of pieces. And because I have made less number of pieces, I am being paid less. So, if I am good with my work, I am not going to work in a factory where such kind of stupidity is done. Meaning to say that if the bundle size should have been 10 and instead of that it has been kept at 20, and people are waiting and there is a lot of wastage happening, people are waiting, the productivity has gone down, and because monitoring is not being done properly, so if you don't monitor properly, then someone or the other would not do the job properly, and therefore there will be poor quality. Now if someone is doing bad quality job on machine number 3, and throughout the entire production operation, no one has seen that the third person is not doing the job properly, what will happen is that after the garment has gone through all the 10 machines, garment has been completed, and then the quality person says that there is this problem in this operation, and then the supervisor realizes that to correct that particular problem, there are 6 operations which have to be undone. You undo 6 operations, then you correct the 7th operation, and then redo this entire thing. So because one person has done a bad job, 6 persons' efforts have gone waste. Again, it has to be unraveled, opened. Then the person who has done a bad job, he'll correct it, and then the same thing, the other people will have to again repeat the same thing, and they will not even be paid for the extra work that they're doing. So, progressive bundle system, if not handled properly, would lead to loss of production, poor quality, and then ultimately people leaving the factory, which is not something good for any factory. And so that was a production bundle system, progressive bundle system, and Then we come to unit production system. Not many factories have unit production system. It is very high on technology, and the system is expensive. You have an overhead conveyor system. If you're sitting on a machine, on top of you there will be a conveyor belt system, and from that conveyor belt system you will get your single piece. So there are clips. In those clips you have those pattern parts. You simply have to take two pattern parts, join them, and put it back into that clip, and you press a button, and the work that you have done, it will travel from your machine to the next machine. And similarly, the entire day there are hangers with various clips. You know from which clip you have to take out the parts, do your operation, and put it back into that clip. So the entire day you get one hanger. See, the moment you press a button, you get one hanger. You take out those pieces, do it, put it back, press the button. That hanger will go up and then it will go down to the next person. So the entire day you will be working on one piece. You work on one piece, press the button, goes to the next one, and you get the next piece. You work on it, do it, press the button, it goes to the next one. So the entire day you are working on one piece. You're not working on one bundle and then sending it to the next person. Now what happens in this case is that if you are a slow person, in that case what will happen is that, suppose I am slow and the next person is fast, and the person who is behind me is also fast. So what will happen is that I have got one piece, I am working on it slowly. The person who is there in front of me has already completed his operation, press the button, sent it to the next person. Now he is waiting and I am still working. So the moment the next person is free and he has not got the next piece from me, then there will be a red light on my head which will start blinking. So throughout the day, in that conveyor belt system, the one who is slow at any given point of time, उसके सर के ऊपर में लाल बत्ती जलने लगती. It's a computerized system and there is no supervisor. Only the quality of the completed garment is seen, and throughout the day, how many times did the red bulb blink over my head is all recorded in the computer system. So this becomes it's like a relay race. If I am slow, the next person is waiting, and if the next person is waiting, red bulb is blinking over my head. The moment I complete it and I press the button, the bulb on top of my head becomes green. So you cannot work so slowly that the person in front of you has completed his operation and is waiting for you. That cannot be the case. By the time the person in front of you has completed his operation, you have already sent the next piece. So each time the person in front of you has completed his job, he sees that already one piece is waiting for him. If he waits, red bulb is on your head. That's like a unit production system. So unit production system, it's similar to a relay race. Each production operator has a task and passes that garment on to the next person. Normally there is only one garment between the operations. So between me and the next person there is just one garment, not a bundle. And 1983 this thing was developed. Computers were used to plan, control and direct the flow of work through the system. And this unit production system is something that it is there in NIFT Mumbai in the technology department. And the essential features of UPS: the unit of production is a single garment and not bundles. The garment components are automatically transported from one workstation to another according to predetermined sequence. And the workstations are so constructed that the components are presented as close as possible to the operator's left, and in order to reduce the amount of movement required to grasp and position and component to be sewn. Like I said, this hanger is going to come to you so close you can very comfortably reach out, take out the parts, work on it, put it back, press the button, that's it. So you just have to reach out, take out the parts, do your job, put it back onto the clasp or the clip, and then press the button. You're done. So throughout the day continuously you have to, it's just like a relay race. And if you're slow, everyone is going to stare at you that this guy is the slowest. And so what happens is that normally the supervisor goes first thing in the morning at about 7:30. Let's say 9 o'clock is the working time, the office time, the factory time. So this supervisor comes at 7 o'clock, prepares all these hangers. One hanger has 5 or 6 clips, and in those 6 clips, all the pattern parts of a particular garment are put onto those clips. And similarly 100, 150, 200 hangers are prepared in the morning itself. So by the time the operators come, all these hangers are loaded onto the overhead conveyor system, and 9 o'clock, the whistle blows and the relay race starts. So all the components for one garment are loaded onto a carrier at a workstation specially designed for this purpose, and the carrier has subsections with quick release retaining clamp. Now a batch of garments are loaded into carriers, and these carriers are fed past mechanical or electronic device which records the number of carrier and takes it to the first destination. So everything is pre-planned, recorded, and as per the instruction, these hangers these carriers will start moving, and will go to the first machine and then to the second, third, fourth, fifth accordingly. And the entire day the production goes at a rapid pace. No one has to shout, no one has to monitor, no one has to tell anyone anything. The red bulb is more than enough, and everyone can see in the entire day किसके सर के ऊपर सबसे ज़्यादा बार लाल बत्ती जली. So that is your unit production system. Most ferocious, most dangerous. You really have to be on your toes. So in assembly line we have this unit production system, and we have this straight line or synchro system. Now this straight line or synchro system is the most prevalent system which is used in assembly line, is mass production. And simplest straight line or synchro system, it is based on a synchronized flow of work through each stage of producing a garment. Time synchronization, line balancing is very important in this case. Okay, so straight line is the simplest. Why? Because it's a straight line. All the machines will be placed in a straight line, and the pattern parts or the operations are going to move from the back to the front, and it has to be synchronized so that no one in this line is sitting idle, and no one in that line should be having a lot of work, because you give 10 difficult operations to one person and give 10 simple operations to another person. Obviously the one who will be doing 10 difficult operations will take more time. So you can't be expecting that simple operations will be done in the same amount of time as difficult operations. So that's why the synchronization has to be done. And just like we do our LCM and HCF, we have to ensure that for difficult operations we have more number of operators engaged to do that, and for simple operations you have lesser number of people engaged to do that. So that's how we have to balance the system. So time synchronization or line balancing is very important. Line balancing is the last part that we will be doing in this session. Now this straight line system is rigid. It's very efficient, but it's rigid because it has to be a straight line, and it is vulnerable to absenteeism and machine breakdown. Reserve operation and machine should be available to fill the gaps. So in case of straight line system, if anyone is absent, you have to have a backup. And like I said, there have to be, in every line there should be at least 2 to 3 persons who can do almost all the operations. So therefore, in case a person is absent, one or the other person should be able to fill in for these absent people. And imagine the person is present, but there's a machine breakdown. Then what do you do? So the person is present, machine is broken down. You have to have reserve machines, so that, and almost all factories, big factories, they have at least 4 to 5 reserve machines. It is just lying there, and every day there is some machine or the other which conks off. So the moment such a thing happens, immediately one of these reserve machines have to be placed in place of the machine which has conked off, and ensure that the production flow does not get hampered as badly. So it has to be done immediately, and requires sufficient volume per style. Now when you're working in straight line, we're talking about great efficiency, great speeds. Line is balanced, and you're working at rapid pace. So when you're talking about working in assembly line and that is straight line, the speed is the highest, and that is only possible if you, for one particular style, let's say it's a skirt, a plain skirt, or a box pleated skirt, or a knife pleated skirt. So for every style you should have at least 2,000, 5,000 pieces. If you don't have that, if you just have about 100, 200 pieces, the problem is that by the time these operators get used to a particular operation and start working at efficient pace, the order is already complete. So you will not be able to enjoy the fruit of efficiency, the fruit of the people have got used to a particular style, and now they can work at very great pace, and the order is already over. So if you're working with a straight line, you should have at least 5,000 to 10,000 pieces in one particular style. Only then you will be able to achieve that efficiency, and therefore be able to enjoy the better margins, because your cost is low, cost of production. So straight line requires sufficient quantity per style. And if you see the slide, the working of UPS, this is slide number 45. It shows the working of the UPS unit. This is the straight line, and you can see that the people are sitting in a straight line, and the movement of the pieces are from back towards the front. And what are the characteristics of a straight line or synchro system? Supervision, because it's rigid, it's a straight line. So due to its rigidity, supervisor's main focus is line balancing. The line has to be balanced in such a way that there is smooth movement of these pieces from one machine to another. Every minor delay causes serious repercussion. If the line is balanced, it means that the pieces are moving smoothly. If the line is not balanced, what will happen is that someone is working fast, someone is working slow, things are getting piled up. Wherever it is getting piled up, the person all the machines which are after that pile up, they are waiting, sitting idle. So this is the scenario where the movement of goods is not smooth. So the responsibility of the supervisor in this case is very high. Labor, if you see, it's a straight line, different operators, different operations. So you will require both high skilled labor, and you will also have a low skilled laborers. I mean semi skilled labor, and the balance has to be maintained between these people. And in terms of quality control, because it's a straight line and let's say 10 or 15 or 20 operations are happening in one straight line, it is important that we check the quality at each stage. So what happens in case of a straight line is that there is a quality control guy who is going to check the quality of the operation done at each of the machines. So what this person does is, he every morning and throughout the day, this person will go to each of the machine and check the quality of the work done by each of the persons. So we'll check, let's say 5 pieces done by each operator, just to ensure that throughout the line everyone is working in a way that they are giving out the required quality. It should not happen that third person has done is not doing the operation properly, and you detect it on the 10th machine that the third one is not doing it properly. Because then, like I said, you'll have to open all those operations, all the work done, correct this, and then redo this entire thing. So if something is going wrong, catch it then and there, not catch it after everything has been done. So that's quality control. Yeah, and productivity is huge. The highest productivity is in case of straight lines, because we are talking about repetitions. So the productivity is the highest, and it's high because of the repetition. You have to have at least 2,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 pieces of a particular style in order. Only then you will be able to get great efficiency. And the throughput time, the amount of time that it takes for the first person to come out of the machine, get finished and then get packed and comes to the you can see it, how does it look. So this throughput time is going to be high. It is very short as a result of a low work in progress. If you talk about straight line, there are no intermediate work stores other than the bundles awaiting the next operation. So in this case, if the orders are less, the throughput time is going to be less, and because in a straight line just a bundle is going to move from one machine to another, so therefore the throughput time is less as compared to modular production system. And the layout is the simplest because it's a straight line. So it is suggested that the students do some additional reading to get a good hang of it, and of course when you visit any apparel manufacturing factory or an export house, you will be actually able to witness all these elements of production, the way it is happening, at least one of them, and you'll be able to gauge and make out all these concepts as to how do they play out in real life. So with that, we come to the end of this section 2, and the last section that we are going to talk about is apparel engineering, in which the last part is line balancing that we will talk about.